Have a great day, students. Welcome back to our online lectures. In last lecture, we started the CPU scheduling algorithms. In that, we will learn the first algorithm, that is the first come, first serve. In that algorithm, the CPU scheduling algorithm, the process that requests the CPU first is allocated the CPU first. The implementation of the FCFS policies is very easily managed with the first in first out queue. When a process enters the ready queue, its PCB is linked onto the tail of the queue. When the CPU is free, it is allocated to the process at the head of queue. The running process is then removed from the queue. The code for FCFS scheduling is simple to write and understand. The real life example of first come first serve scheduling is the buying ticket of movie. In that, the people have make a queue and one by one buy the ticket. In that queue, first people of that queue buy the ticket first and continue the process until the last people of that queue get the ticket of that movie. It is the example of first come first serve. The table shows the three processes P1, P2, P3. Its execution time, the 24 for P1, 3 for P2 and 4 milliseconds for P3. Then it is very important to draw the Gantt chart. As per the order, in the queue P1 is coming first, after that P2 and after that P3. So draw the Gantt chart. The P1 process get executed first, after that P2 and after that P3. So initially the waiting time of P1 is 0. So P1 required 24 milliseconds for the execution. So it's a 24 millisecond is the turnaround time of P1. So P2 is getting wait for 24 milliseconds. After that P2 required 3 milliseconds for the execution. So 24 plus 3, it's a 27. It is the turnaround time of P2 and 27 milliseconds for P3. P3 requires 4 milliseconds for the execution. So 27 plus 4, it's a 31. It's the turnaround time for P3 and waiting time is 24 milliseconds. Now calculate the average waiting time and average turnaround time. The waiting time of P1 is 0, P2 is 24 and P3 is 27. Take the average of that, that is 0 plus 24 plus 27 divided by 3, it's a 17 millisecond. It is the average waiting time. Likewise, calculate the turnaround time. P1 has 24, P2 has 27 and P3 has 31. Take the average of that, 24 plus 27 plus 31 divided by 3, it's a 27.33 millisecond. It's the average turnaround time. Today we are going to discuss the SJF algorithm. SJF algorithm, that is the shortest job first. In the SJF algorithm, the process with the shortest expected processing time is assigned to the CPU. So it is known as SJF, that is the shortest job first. The job or processes are processed in the ascending order of their CPU burst time. Every time the job with smallest CPU burst time is selected from the ready queue. If two processes having same CPU burst time, then they will be scheduled according to FCFS, that is first come first serve. In short, shortage of first scheduling works on the process with the shortest burst time or duration first. This is the best approach to minimize waiting time. The shortage of first having two methods, that is non-preemptive SJF and preemptive SJF. As earlier we saw the types of scheduling, that is a non-preemptive scheduling and preemptive scheduling. First, non-preemptive SJF. In this method, if CPU is executing one job, it is not stopped in between before completion. Means currently running process will be continue if high priority process enters in the system, is called as non-preemptive SJF. Second, the preemptive SJF. In this method, while CPU is executing a job, if new job arrives with smaller burst time, its execution time, then the current job is stopped or sent back to the ready queue and the new job is executed, is called as a preemptive SJF and also called shortest remaining time first. Now we will see the example of non-preemptive SJF and preemptive SJF. The basic idea of SJF in that name, that is a shortest job first. The job or process having smaller CPU time or burst time, it will be get executed first. Now we will take the example of non-preemptive SJF. It is the table shows the process having a burst time. P1 it having a 6 millisecond, P2 having 8 millisecond, and 3 it having 7 millisecond, and P4 having 3 millisecond. These are the burst time. According to SJF, we can say take the ascending order of burst time. Means ascending order, the smaller value first, after that and so on. So now we will calculate the Gantt chart. In this example, the process having smallest burst is the P4, it having 3 millisecond. After that, P1 get executed, it's having 6 millisecond. After that, P3 will be executed because it having 7 millisecond. And last, that is the P2 because it having highest burst time, it's a 8 millisecond. Now first P4 will execute because it having a smallest burst time, so its waiting time is 0. P4 it spent in CPU total 3 millisecond, so its a turnaround time is 3. So 3 millisecond it is a waiting time of P1. Now P1 is required 6 millisecond for the execution, so 3 plus 6 it's a 9, it is a turnaround time of P1. So P3 is waiting for the 9 millisecond and P3 required 7 millisecond for the execution. So 9 plus 7 it's a 16 millisecond, it is the turnaround time of P3. So 16 it is the waiting time of P2, and last the P2 is executed. Its turnaround time or its execution time is 8 millisecond. So 16 plus 8 it is a 24 millisecond. It's a turnaround time of P2. It is the basic concept of non-preemptive SJF. In short, the process is having smallest burst time is get executed first, after that and so on. As you see in Gantt chart, the process P4 will be picked up first as it has the shortest burst time. After that, P1 followed by P3 and last, that is the P2. Now we will calculate the average waiting time and turnaround time. So P1, its a waiting time is 3 millisecond. P2, it's having 16 millisecond. P3, it having 9 millisecond, and P4, it having 0 millisecond. It's a waiting time. Now calculate the average waiting time, that is the P1 plus P2 3 plus P3 plus P4 divided by 4, because it having a 4 processes. So 3 plus 19 plus 16 plus 9 plus 0 divided by 4, it's a 7 millisecond. It's a total average waiting time. Likewise, calculate the average turnaround time. Turnaround time for P1, it's 9 millisecond. P2, it's a 24 millisecond. P3, it's a 16 millisecond, and P4, it's a 3 millisecond. Now the order of P1, P2 and P3 and P4 as arrival time in the example is 0, 1, 2, 3. It's the order of these processes. So the arrival time of P1 is 0, arrival time of P2 is 1, arrival time of P3 is 2 and arrival time of P4 is 3. So at the time of calculating turnaround time, arrival time is get minus. So 9 minus 0, it's a 9, 24 minus 1, it's a 23, 16 minus 2, it's a 14, and 3 minus 3, it is a 0. And the average of that 9 plus 23 plus 14 plus 0 divided by 4, it's a 4 processes is equal to 11.5 milliseconds. It is the turnaround time. It is the sample example of non-preemptive SJF. Again, I tell you, in non-preemptive SJF, the processes which having a small burst time will executed first. That is the shortest job first. Now we will see the preemptive SJF. In preemptive SJF, the jobs are put into ready queue as they arrive, but as a process with short burst time arrives, the existing process is preempted or removed from the execution and the shorter job is executed first. Here, take one example. There are 4 processes, that is P1, P2, P3 and P4. Their arrival time 0, 1, 2, 3 and their respective burst time. P1 had 8 millisecond, P2 have 4 millisecond, P3 have 9 millisecond and P4 having a 5 millisecond. As per the preemptive SJF, the currently running process will stop whenever the high priority process enters in the system. So we will solve the Gantt chart of this preemptive SJF. As per the preemptive concept, the currently running process, it is a P1 because it will be arrived first. So P1 is being executed as P1 arrived first, hence its execution start immediately, but just after 1 millisecond, P2 is arrived. So as compared to P1, P2 had the smallest burst time. So P1 will execute only for the 1 millisecond and preempt it to the P2, means currently running process that P1 is executed only 1 millisecond. After that P1 get enters in the system. So P2 has a smallest burst time as compared to P1. So P1 is removed from the ready queue and sent back to the ready queue, and P1 gets CPU for the execution. So P2, it has a 4 millisecond. So P1 is get executed 1 millisecond. So its total burst time, it is a 7 millisecond because 1 millisecond is being executed. Next, P4 is being executed because P3 enters in the system, but it has a higher burst time. So P2 is being continued. After that P4 enters the system, it having a 5 millisecond. As compared to P2, it is also higher burst time. So P2 will continue their execution. Its total burst time is a 4. So 1 plus 4, it is the 5. Now P4 is being executed. P4 it having a smallest burst time as compared to P3 and P1. So it will be continue. So 5 plus 5, it's a 10. After that P4, P1 will execute it because P1 has now 7 millisecond burst time and it is the smallest as compared to P3. So P1 will get executed first. So 10 plus 7, it's a 17. And after that last P3 is get executed, it having total burst time is 9. So 17 plus 9, it's a total 26. It is the Gantt chart of preemptive SJF of this example. Now calculate the average waiting time of example. First, P1, it's a waiting time. Total time, waiting time of P1 is 10 and this P1 is previously executed for 1 millisecond. So 10 minus 1 is equal to 9. It's a total waiting time of P1. Next, P2. P2, its waiting time is 1. So 1 minus its arrival time is 1. So 1 minus 1, it's a 0. P1 having a arrival time is 0. So 9 minus 0 is a 9. Next, P3. P3, its waiting time is 17 and its arrival time is 2. So 17 minus 2 is equal to 15. It's a waiting time. And P4 it having 5 waiting time and its arrival time is 3. So 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. These are the waiting time of these respective processes. P1 process having a 9 millisecond, P2 have a 0 millisecond, P3 having a 15 millisecond and P4 having a 2 millisecond. As per this waiting time, the shortest job first, that is the P2 having a very small CPU time or burst time is executed first. It required 0 waiting time. After that P4, its a waiting time is 2. After that P1, it having a 9 millisecond and last, that is a P3, it having a 15 millisecond for the waiting. Now take the average of this waiting time, that is the 9 plus 0 plus 15 plus 2 divided by 4 because of total number of processes is equal to 6.5 millisecond. It is the total average waiting time of preemptive HAF. Now calculate the turnaround time of processes. The P1 process it having total turnaround it's a 17 millisecond. Also minus its arrival time, it is 17 minus 0 is equal to 17. P2 its a turnaround time is 5 and arrival time is 1, so 5 minus 1 is 4 millisecond. P3 its turnaround time is 16, arrival time is 2, so 26 minus 2 is equal to 24. And last P4 having a turnaround time 10 and its arrival time is 3, so 10 minus 3 it's a 7. Now take the average of this. 17 plus 4 plus 24 plus 7 divided by 4, and it's a 30 millisecond of total average turnaround time. So the preemptive SJF is also known as shortest remaining time first, because at any given point of time the job with the shortest remaining time is executed first. Hope you will understand the difference between preemptive SJF and non-preemptive SJF. Next, characteristics of SJF scheduling algorithm. It is associated with each job as a unit of time to complete. This algorithm method is helpful for batch system where waiting time for job to complete is not critical. It can improve process throughput by making sure that shorter jobs are executed first, hence possibly have a short turnaround time. It improves job output by offering shorter job which should be executed first, which mostly have a shorter turnaround time. Now, shortest remaining time next. It is the SRTN algorithm. It is also called as the preemptive SJF. The SRTN means shortest remaining time next scheduling algorithm is a preemptive form of SJF scheduling algorithm. It is also known as shortest time to go STG algorithm. SRTN is a scheduling discipline in which the next scheduling entity, a job or a process is selected on the basis of shortest remaining execution time. Means, in short, in this algorithm, priority is matter. Priority is considered. So it is a very real-time algorithm. In this algorithm, a job is chosen whose remaining runtime is the shortest or small. For a new job, its runtime is compared with the remaining time of the current job. If new job needs less time to complete than the current job, then the current job is stopped or blocked and the new job is being executed. Anytime a new process enters the pool of processes to be scheduled, the scheduler compares the expected value for its remaining processing time with that of the process currently scheduled. If a new process time is less, the currently scheduled process is preempted, means it will be sent back to the ready queue. We will take one example of SRTN. It is the example. There are 4 processes, that is the P1, P2, P3 and P4. Its CPU burst time is 7, 5, 2, 3 and its arrival time 0, 1, 3, 4. Means P1 it having a arrival time 0, CPU burst time 7 millisecond. P2 its arrival time 1, and CPU burst time 5 millisecond. P3 its arrival time 3 and CPU burst time 2 millisecond, and process P4 arrival time is 4 and its CPU burst time is 3. Now we can see the Gantt chart. As per the SJF, the smallest CPU time is get executed first, but as per the preemptive SJF, the currently running process will be stopped when high priority process enters in the system. As per this example, P1 has a first arrival because its arrival time is 0. So it will be the current running process. P1 is a currently running process. Its waiting time is 0. P1 is get executed 1 millisecond. The process P2 is enters in the system with the burst time 5 millisecond, which is less than the burst time of P1, because P1 have a 7 millisecond and P2 have a 5 millisecond. So as compared to P1, P2 is the less burst time, so it will be execute. So P1 will get executed for only 1 millisecond, but its total burst time is a 7. So 7 minus 1, it's a 6. Now P1 has 6 millisecond burst time. Hence the process P1 is preempted and process P2 is executed. After that, as process P2 is getting executed, after 1 millisecond P3 is arrives and its CPU burst time is 2. It is again smaller than P2. So P1 will get executed for only 1 millisecond. So 1 plus 1, it's a 2. And now P2 is the CPU burst time is 4. Then after 1 millisecond of P3 execution, P4 is enter, but its CPU burst time is greater than P3, so P3 will get continue their execution. So P3 it having total CPU burst time is 2, so 2 plus 2, it's a 4, and then P4 will get executed because as compared to P2 and P1, its CPU burst time is small. So P4 will get continue execution. So it's a CPU burst time is 3. So 4 plus 3, it's a 7. After that, P2 get executed because of smallest CPU burst time. Its remaining time is 4 millisecond. So 7 plus 4, it's 11. After that, P1 will get executed and its remaining time is 6 millisecond. So 11 plus 6, that is the 17 millisecond. So the preemptive SJF is also known as shortest remaining time first. Now we will calculate the waiting time of each and every processes. P1, its a waiting time is 11 and previously get executed for 1 millisecond minus its arrival time. So 11 minus 1 and its arrival time is 0. So 11 minus 1, it's a 10. 10 minus 0, it's a 10. Next P2, its a waiting time is 7 and it's previously executed, so it's a 2. So 7 minus 2, it get a 5 millisecond. Next, P3. P3, its waiting time is 2. Waiting time is 2. So, and its arrival time is 2. So, it's a 2 minus 2, it's a 0. And last, that is the P4. Its waiting time is 4 and arrival time is 4. So, 4 minus 4, it's a 0. Here, arrival time of P3 is 3. So, 2 minus 3, it's a negative value. So, it consider the 0 waiting time. Now, take the average of this process, that is the 10 plus 5 plus 0 plus 0 divided by 4. It's a total number of processes and its a total average waiting time is 3.75 millisecond. Now, calculate the average waiting turnaround time. Turnaround time of P1, it's a 17. Next, P2 having 11 millisecond minus its arrival time is 1. It's 11 minus 1, it's a 10. Next, P3, its arrival time is 4 and arrival time considered as 2. So, 4 minus 2, it's a 2. And last, the P4, it having turnaround time is 7 minus 3 is equal to 4. Take the average turnaround time, that is 17 plus 10 plus 2 plus 4 divided by 4. It's a total 8.25 millisecond. As compared to non-preemptive SJF, the average waiting time of preemptive SJF is lesser. So, preemptive SJF is better than non-preemptive SJF. I hope you will understand the SJF algorithm, that is the non-preemptive SJF and preemptive SJF. In non-preemptive SJF, the process will execute first which having a smallest burst time first. In non-preemptive, currently running process will stop when newly entered process having the CPU burst time small. It is the concept of non-preemptive and preemptive. Now take homework. The jobs are scheduled for execution as follows: process arrival time and burst time. Also find an average waiting time and turnaround time using Gantt chart. These are the two examples. One is consider and solve using SJF algorithm, that is a non-preemptive SJF algorithm, and second, that is a STRN. It is the shortest time remaining next, that is the preemptive SJF. And post your answer on our WhatsApp group. Thank you.